What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I am bringing you a live recording from locals. So on the left we've got Charlie playing Dragon Link, and on the right we've got myself playing Branded. Now this is just before the locals, so this is all just some testing in order to get prepped for nationals. Charlie's obviously just prepping for locals, but he wants to give his D-Links a run out and see how they can do against Branded. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So we start off with Charlie, who won the dice roll, normal summons Safer, and then tributes it off in order to search out a dragon of the same level. Now unfortunately his opening isn't the greatest, because you'll see with the selection that he makes of what he searches. So he searches out White Wyvern Buster, and then you'll see in a second that his hand actually already contains Black Collapse, which is a big sad, because it means he's opened up both of his one-ofs, or like one of his root of one-ofs that he doesn't really want, but not a starter that he wants. He couldn't really search out Tracer because he already conducted a normal summon, so I suppose you search out Tracer for a follow-up. Anyway, he banishes out Safer and then goes into Striker Dragon, and again doesn't conduct a search. So straight away that telegraphs that he's already got Boot Sector in the hand, which is really, really painful. And not going to be able to allow him to go so far. The next play is to special summon down that White Wyvern Buster. It might have been better, and he might have got a little bit more advantage off of this if he Safered into a Tracer, because then he could still banish the Safer, link off, and search out the Wyvern, so he would have had one additional card in hand, but that's just experience that will come with that. He also activates the Bull Drake very early, so he's opened up the Bull Drake, so he's not worried about what I've got, as if I can produce a Dark Monster or anything else that might threaten him. But by putting the Bull Drake on the board early, my assumption would be that he spheres out, goes into Magnemute, Magnemute gives an end phase search, and then the Bull Drake is live. Unlucky for him, I start off with Fusion Deployment, which in theory, if I was playing Albal and Artus, which is something that I've definitely been considering for the current format, because of Dragon Link being as prominent as it is, I could summon out Albaz and then not even attempt to use this effect. Just go, okay, cool, summon out Albaz. Anything with summon? No, right. Contact Fuse and then fuse the entire board away, which obviously makes a massive, massive difference. But I choose to use this effect because I'm trying to push for a Mirror Jade, and I wasn't playing Albal and Artus at this exact period of time. So that kind of gives you a bit of an insight into the particular build that I've gone with on this one. It's very difficult. I think that's the one, not that it's a major issue, like Brandon have got loads of extra deck kind of cards, but yeah, in response to that, he tags out his spheres, obviously spinning back the Albaz goes back to hand, which means it can't resolve. Discard, I can't remember what that discard is, but he's gone into Magnemute, he's triggered Magnemute's effect, and then we've got, of course, Bull Drake. So Bull Drake is now live. It's causing a little bit of an issue because anything that I go into, it will banish it. So I've kind of got to play around it. I'm just trying to remember exactly what Bull Drake is, because I'm pretty sure I remember it being, maybe it doesn't banish it. Let me just double check. This is what happens when you don't have the cards exactly in front of you. So Bestial Bull Drake, because I mean if it banishes it, it's not the end of the world. I just Lubellion it back. Or was it a bounce to hand? I can never remember this one. If your opponent special summons a Ritual Fusion, Synchronize with your Link, etc. and dash state true one light a dark target special summon monster and banish it. It does banish it, so I suppose it's not that big of an issue. Because if I go Lubellion, I go Book of Eclipse anyway. I probably should have done that prior to all of this, because then I don't need to worry about the Bull Drake at all. But the way I see it is I was never leaving those monsters on the board anyway. So yes, the build is main deck and Eclipse. I just think it's just such a good board out. Yes, if your opponent has Ash Blossom, then they deal with it, but then they're still in a Branded deck. If they use their Ash Blossom and Book of Eclipse, that means they want to protect the board, which only means my Branded Fusion will go through unless they've got an Omni Negate on the board. So if I use Eclipse and they negate it with an Ash, and then I can follow that up with something else, then it causes issues. Anyway, activating Branded Fusion, this is going to send Albaz and Lubellion to give me in my Albion. So there was obviously a reason. I can't recall my exact mindset of why I didn't want to go Lubellion and then play into the Bull Drake, but Albion is going to banish itself and a Macoria from the hand. This is going to give me Lubellion. Lubellion's effect, Chainlink 1, Macoria, Chainlink 2. So I'm going to discard a card as cost, which was the Albaz that he bounced back to the hand, and Macoria's Chainlink 2, which is going to give me direct access to Cartesia. So at this point, I now have one Albaz banished, one Albaz in the graveyard. But the best thing about this is my Lubellion can now spin itself back and the Albaz and going to Mirror Jade. So that sets me up my route of play there, while also maintaining an Albaz in the graveyard for Cartesia to be able to summon down, and then Cartesia confused with the face down Aluba. So I've not really lost anything. I've kind of burnt through quite a lot of my hand for next to no results at this moment in time. But Lubellion effect comes back. This can then give me Branded Lost before I activate the Cartesia to give me then an additional search, which can set me up with a Macoria, because at the moment I am playing 2. I'm not set on 2 as of yet, hence this is called a test, because you test to see if you're happy with the levels you're playing, and then if not, you change it around, and if you want more or less, you kind of adapt it. So Cartesia's effect fuses herself plus the face down Aluba, and it's going to allow me to go into Dust Dragon. Dust Dragon effect as well on summon, just checking if there's anything in the graveyard or what I exactly want to send. I mean, there's already an Albion in there, so that's already going to give me an M-phase search. There's not really mass effects, so it's making sure that I chain the Lost as well at the right place to give me exactly what I want. But again, at this point, the best thing I can go for is the Albion for the blind draw. Lubellion came from the graveyard. God, this is so so many Alubas, so many Albions, so many Lubellions. It's crazy. So got the blind draw. We're sending Titaniclad because that will give me an end phase Quem. So this was something that I was trying out, like if I wanted Titaniclad in and not send the Lulu Wallace, so to save the Lulu Wallace for like a later point, because technically I can synchro into her, which is pretty funny as well. So we're going to send Branded Sword. Again, this is a card that I wanted to trial out because it gives me back the Macoria. So I don't need to rely on the second one all the time. But I'm not. I think I'm going to go back to Retribution. I'm not really set on the sword. We're going to banish the sword to add the Macoria back to the hand. So I'm just looping resource at this moment in time. So at the moment I've got the random draw plus the guaranteed Macoria, which is going to give me a monster negate. And I think at this point I kind of didn't go as far as I wanted to. Like, because I had the Macoria banished from the hand, I could have gone for the old fashioned send Branded in white and then Retribution, but I needed another card to send the Retribution and set it all up from there. So kind of messed up a little bit, but at the end of the day, I know the 2 cards he's got face down. He'll get the Magnamut Search, which will set up the Tracer, but then I can deal with that Tracer with Macoria and of course with Mirror Jade. So I've got kind of answers to what he might be able to put on board. Not to mention like Mirror Jade and Dust Dragon. I should have brought back. Why do I'm so used to bringing Lubellion back in defense because I'm so used to playing like Go First, where I put most of my monsters in defense, that if I brought Lubellion back in attack, I could have got a decent chunk of damage on the board. Like at the base minimum, like 2,500. So if not 3k off of Mirror Jade, because I know both his sets. I'm pretty sure Magnamut resets its stats as well, so it's actually back because it's not 0-0 as it's been flipped face down. My only concern is that I don't leave them on the board. So Mirror Jade goes into the Magnamut, Dust Dragon goes into Baldrake. I nearly thought that I messed that one up as well. I was like, is Baldrake one of the weird ones that has like crazy high defense stats? And it doesn't, luckily. Otherwise that would have come back and bit me in the arse. So we move to the end phase. The end phase, I've got Albion and I've got Albion, Titaniclad, and if I wanted to, I could add the Cartesia back to the hand, but I'm going to leave it in there because that's going to give me the Quem play. So we're going to set the Branded in red. That's another form of interruption towards my opponent. And then we're going to get a Quem off of Titaniclad. Quem's effect's already sent a Cartesia. So, I mean, technically I can send a second Cartesia and then add one of them back to my hand. I mean, that would make the most logical sense, right? Unless I opened it. Did I draw it? I can't remember off the top of my head, but if I did draw it, that's quite funny as well, actually. But obviously I know that one card in Charlie's hand is completely dead. That is the Boot Sector launch. Well, it's not completely dead. It's just set ready to go. So I send him a Macoria because I believe there must be a reason for that. Charlie draws. He's forgotten to do the Magnamut resolution, so he probably should have done that. Looks like he's got a Druid Swarm in the hand. Yeah, Druid Swarm. He's a little bit eager on these Druid Swarm plays, because I think, like, again, that's experience, because if you know that Branded in red is there, you will Druid Swarm the Branded in, like, you wait for me to activate Branded in red and then Druid Swarm that. So I think that's just a little bit eager on his behalf. That's just waiting on that one. So I just I let that go through. I'm not really too fussed about that. I've got the Macoria, like I said, to negate. I'm not really fussed about the like the send effect. I could have negated this effect as well, but save it. Oh, he's got a tracer. Where did the tracer come from? Did he search in the end phase? Have I missed something? Did he search the Druid Swarm? He's got 4 cards. I thought he only had 2 cards at the end of his turn. Either way. So he's activating the boot sector, and then he's going to activate the rockets effect to get rid of the boot sector, because obviously he's got no rockets in the graveyard, so he can't use either of the effects of the sector. He hasn't even got one in the hand, so I think that's where the misplay of not searching previously with Magnamoot would have come into play. But again, that's just inexperience. Trace's effect is targeting, just trying to determine what he's going to go for, because the next one, he can go into Scarlight, and in theory, if Scarlight stays on the board, he nukes my board, so I've got to be careful not to let him maintain that tuner. Not to mention as well, I think now Striker's locking him into Darks, but if he hadn't have done that previously, he could have synced into something like a Baron. That would have then provided the send-off of Druid Swarm, which would have forced... because like, if I leave it on the board there, he sinks into a Baron. That would then Druid Swarm to target the Mirror Jade to send it. I can then chain the effect of Mirror Jade to get rid of Baron, and he can then Baron to negate that. So then he would then be set up to be able to Baron and pop one of my cards as well. So once he brings the other level 4 on the board, we're now going to go branded in red. We're going to target the Aluba, add that back to the hand, and then we're going to fuse. Now, what have I got? I've got a Quem there, which I don't really want to use right now. Like, you don't want to use that to fuse. You don't. I think I'll kind of mess this up again, really, because you don't really want to fuse any of those monsters on the board. Technically, Lubellion is probably the most expendable because he's already done his job. There's no more continuous branded cards I want to use. So I think I did draw that Cartesia as well. Ugh. Lubellion into Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera is going to pop 1. Lost is going to get a search off of 2 as well. So, and then 3 is Quem, because a monster has come out of the extra deck. So I think I'm going 1 Guardian, 2 Quem, 3 Lost. Just try and stack the protection there. Mirror Jade is still active, so we're going to search out the Albion again. We're just going to loop that resource. Maybe I am only playing 1 Macoria in this version. I've gone through so many versions. Not that there's an issue with that. That's all testing, it's all updating, it's all changing it around. So okay, where are we looking at? So we're going to get rid of the Tracer because you take away the only tuner on the board. We're going to let my opponent cut so I can draw 2 new cards and build off of the back of that. I think it's a pretty... Don't show me the cards I'm going to draw. They were pretty good cards as well, actually. Ad Libitum and Branded Opening. Bless him. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that this is going to be used as an experience for Charlie that he can see and obviously get an alternative player's view on the board. Because obviously I can't tell him how to play as we're dueling because I don't know what he's got in hand. I can't say to him, hold that Bestial back because I don't know that he's got it before he activates it. So it's just kind of seeing what he can kind of do from here. I feel that he's already Dragon Locked himself. I don't believe he has access to Baron, which makes sense. He definitely doesn't have access to Chaos Angel. Otherwise, that would have been another pretty powerful card to bring out. Especially if you could get a light on the board. That would have been funny. Get a light on the board and then sink. Oh, can you imagine if they turn Bestials into like Light Swans where they have dark and light counterparts? That would be funny as well. This is just me with random babbling as we wait to proceed these plays. He does have a Baron. What? Charlie! How did... he was probably so set on... I definitely saw a Baron in his extra. Either that or I'm seeing things. He's gone for the Dark Charmer. Now this would be really funny if he had... Like, can you imagine if he had a Mirror Jade in his extra deck and he brings back my Albaz and then tries to contact fuse my Albaz with my Mirror Jade. LOL. Yeah, okay, so let's see where this continues to go. So going for the Dark Charmer. It has to go to a zone it points to, which is why I'm then considering Mirror Jade. So we'll go Mirror Jade. Don't know how many targets I've got left. I've only gone through an Albion and a Titaniclad. So we'll go for another Albion so that should this go another turn, I can build up. I think there's definitely been a couple of misplays. And I think it's the misunderstanding of the Bestials of being quick effects. So he should have saved them. Druid Swarm definitely should have sent a card as well. So the chances are it probably would have sent Oh, he's going for the link. Apologies. So he's going for the link, and as he's done the link, he's going to go chainlink 1 as his turn player. Chainlink 1 Druid Swarm, and gets rid of the Guardian Chimera, and I'll just let it happen because there's no need to leave that on the board. Oh, lol, he's got a Gamma in the hand. He's got a Gamma in the hand. Cartesia into Dracus Depelia. Oh, I can't do that because I need a dark. Doi. So I think he's kind of just concedes this point here. I mean, the next, which is weird because if that is definitely a Gamma in the hand, I activate Cartesia's effect, he goes Gamma. Okay, it doesn't look like I could even use Cartesia's effect. So we're just going to switch everything attack and then just play around a Gamma. Yeah, normal summon and Alba as an attack for game. God, that was a weird one. So not only is that a learning experience for Charlie, that's also a learning experience for myself. Anyway, a short, sweet, simple 1 duel. We didn't do a game 2 or 3. So hopefully that's kind of given you a bit of an insight, a bit of entertainment, and kind of go from there. Anyway, as absolutely always, guys, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.